I loved being DIY. It was really satisfying, and like there's, I don't know, it's so exciting when someone buys your CD and you can post it to them. You know, you can you write their address on an envelope and you send it to them. It's so direct, and I loved the closeness with fans and people who liked my music. But it did get to this point where I had no time to make music. When Groenland and Flying Nun and Tugboat got in touch, all these record labels, I decided to work with them because it gave me more time to do my music, and it's nice to have help and people there to support me and maybe get the music a bit further than I could myself. With Morningside, there was never really a start date. I didn't even know I was making an album when I began the first few songs. So it is, and it feels very much like a collage. Like there's some really old songs on it, there's some really new songs which I finished in the last few weeks of finishing the album, and it was recorded all over different flats and homes, and sometimes at a friend's house, sometimes at a friend's studio, sometimes at home. And I feel like I didn't have a very organised system with making this album. It was kind of like one day I'd feel like doing vocals, so I'd chuck some vocals on a track. It was all really disorganised and chaotic, and I don't know how I managed to finish it, but it's finished now. Morningside to me it symbolises coming home and feeling at home for the first time in so many years for me. So I remember when I first moved to Morningside and I got my first letter in the mail, and I just looked at it and I felt so happy for the first time in so long, and just to know that I didn't have to move flats in a few months. And I also liked it symbolically as well. Morningside, it's like getting through the night, and for me it was like getting through a really rough patch in my life and reaching the other side and being stronger because of it. So yeah, that's what Morningside means to me. Also, it felt right to call it something, to name it after an Auckland suburb, because Auckland has had a really big influence on me and my music, and I've lived there for 5 years now. So I put out my self-titled EP at the end of 2014, and it had a really slow build. There's no kind of sudden success with it. It just very slowly travelled around the internet. I think, I don't know, people showed their friends, and that was really nice, having a slow build, because it gave me time to develop a bit more, and also, you know, learn how to play live and I formed a band to play the songs live, and yeah, not much changed in my day-to-day life. The success of it was great, but also didn't affect me too much. Even though I record everything by myself, I feel like I'm making band music, so it did feel right to get a band together live. And I think that was the plan all along, really. I mean, it's so much more fun getting on stage with other people than it is all by yourself. Never leave you if you let me. Supporting artists like Explosions in the Sky and Unknown Water Orchestra, those shows have been really, they've been really big learning curves for me. You know, there's nothing like seeing a professional band 6 times in a row and learning from it. So yeah, so those shows gave me a chance to grow and get better and yeah, and analyse my live set and see how I can improve it, because playing live isn't really a natural thing for me. I like hanging out by myself at home in my room recording, so being on a stage in front of people staring back at me is like, it's terrifying. I like the immediate gratification of recording. Like, I find so much happiness in hitting record and playing something and then being able to listen back to it straight away. So I love that. I love the closeness. So I'm right there for the whole process, and I feel so connected to it, which is quite different to being in a studio where someone else is miking things for you and someone else is hitting record. And yeah, so I really like being hands-on. It's so much fun. I could do it forever. And but it does get like quite lonely, and you know, in those moments where you're doubting yourself or questioning what you've just been doing for the last 8 hours, that is sometimes when it gets hard. And that's probably the worst bit about working alone, is sometimes not being able to break a negative thought. So yeah, but I'm slowly learning how to work by myself and make sure I take breaks and make sure I see my friends. I did initially try to go into a studio and record some songs, but I felt so disconnected to the process. And it felt way more about the product rather than the journey to get there. And I really like growing and understanding what's happening, but sometimes in a studio it feels like a mystery and I don't quite know what's happening or how we got a certain drum sound. So yeah, after feeling a bit disconnected in the studio, I decided to go back to the only way I knew how, which was by myself.